this video has been supported by Mach Motors. Thank you very much for that. So this is the G6, and to start off, just to give you an impression of its form and shape, I really like it. Somehow, I think especially from the side, it reminds me a little bit, mainly like this, it reminds me a little bit of Range Rover, but I can be very wrong. I think it looks pretty sleek, especially for such a huge car. But first things first, please subscribe to my channel. That would be super nice. Thanks so much. So, bevor wir loslegen, erstmal ein Blick von außen. So sieht der Wagen aus, wenn alles geschlossen ist. Einfach mal auf die Form, die mir und übrigens auch meiner Frau sehr gut gefällt. Ist halt ein sehr großes Auto, aber die haben das auch durch die abfallende Dachlinie sehr schön gestaltet, finde ich. Für mich hat er ein bisschen, wenn ich so von hier gucke, bisschen Ähnlichkeit mit der Form eines Range Rover. Aber ich kann mich irren. Ist halt ein eher klassischeres Design für einen SUV, für einen großen. What is also important, of course, for you, and I will show you the numbers extra, but this one has 423 kilowatt power, a lot, and it charges at 525, if I remember correctly, kilowatt. So that means even though it has a huge battery of 92 kilowatt net, it charges 80% from 10 to 80% within just 12 minutes. And given the consumption that you can normally calculate, that means something like in 12 to 15 minutes, you have 300, 350 kilometers per hour that you can spend on the next leg of your trip. And it needs probably around 17 to 18 minutes to 90% and about 28, 29 minutes to charge from basically 5% to full. So if you consider this car as a family car, which most of you probably will, because it has a huge trunk, it has nice space for the kids in the back, that means you can travel easily around 4 hours, 3 hours, let's say 3 hours at 120, 130 on the highway with the kids. Then you take a break and you have only 28 to 29 minutes to be back at the car with the kids going to the bathrooms, eating something, playing around. Maybe you even have a dog with you. I tell you, that is tough to do. So these are really quite good specs, I would say, for such a huge car. The charging effectively makes it a very, very speedy traveler, particularly for families, I think. And this here is the highest spec version that you can get. That's the Performance. I will, blend in all the details because I cannot remember all of it. Most important thing is probably that it has a huge amount of power, around 400, but as I will say kilowatt, but I will show you, and a 92 net capacity battery. So a really nice range. I would say I tested it today, and realistic is at 120 kilometers in really hilly areas, so not flat. One can manage 420 kilometers roughly, is my estimate right now. I couldn't do the concrete calculations afterwards, but that's what it is. So I show you now first my impressions of the car, what it looks like and how it feels. First thing is, it is definitely luxurious. That's absolutely no question whatsoever. We start in the front, and this car has what I would love to have, and that is a trunk. And it's a decent trunk, that's 70 liters. So you can store quite a bit here, and it makes use of the space. I would really wish that all cars had that, all electric cars, because that's how it should be. That's also a very nice color, I think. I actually, me personally, I prefer this to the black, pure black, simply because it has kind of differences in it. There are changes. It's not all the same. So I like that. And let's go here and have a look inside. So we can see here we have leather seats, Napa leather, and they are heated, ventilated, and massage seats. So like it is in all the upper level of XPeng cars. And we have here the normal functions for the doors. This is different to some other cars. Here you have a manual handle to open the door. What is really nice is here the leg support, which you can change by going on the seat. And I show you now on the passenger side, that's easier to see. You can just say, okay, let's say leg rest. I want to move it backwards, or I want to have more of it. And I go now to the maximum, and that's really a lot. And what is also really nice, there's no gap here. I had that, for example, in my Mercedes back then. There was an extendable leg rest, but when you moved it forward, you had a gap between the seat and the leg rest, which always felt a little bit weird. It has a glove compartment, and it has a really cool storage here in the center, because you can either open it from this side or you can open it also from that side. Most cars have it like this, and then sometimes that can be a bit awkward. This is really a cool solution. 2 charge ports, ventilated, of course. Cup holders, the standard. This is still my cable. I should not forget to take that cable. And I show you, wait, there you can see. And there's this open storage space. We also have here 12 volt, and we have USB A and USB C ports. So that is nice. The ventilation is regulated through the car. So you can do that here by changing where you want to have the flow. Yeah. Or you can have it, you can do it here. You can move everything you want to move. Really nice. Let's switch that off for now. So really nice materials. It's all soft here. I like the speakers here. That looks really cool from Dyn Audio. Also, this here is really nicely done. So very nice in the front. Now we come to the back. The second part of the luxury, of course, if you would sit behind me, it can become a little bit narrow, as you can see here. Well, I'm a super tall guy. Here you have the ventilation regulated by hand. You have, again, down there, 2 charge ports. You have here an armrest where you can also store a little bit. And you have a cup holder coming out here. And you also have the leg rests, which you can also extend a little bit. But that, interestingly, has to be done from the front seat. You cannot do that in the back yourself. What you can do here is you can start, for example, your ventilation or the heating. Both we don't need. And what is really nice, I show you that when I go outside so that you see that better. So here you can, with this here, you can change the back seat by 10 degrees. Lean it back and lean it forward again. So either maximum storage or maximum relaxation for the passengers. The trunk is really huge. I show you a picture where I filled in all the luggage that I have. And here, the biggest suitcase I have that works even upright to the side. So you have plenty of storage space here. This here is nice when you want to transport something. You just click and poof, goes down. And if you have something heavy to carry, you can lower the car to the minimum just to put it in easily. And then you simply, when you've done that, you can lift it up again. That's a cool feature. What I like here a lot is you have these hooks, something that I miss in my car. Very nice. Here are also, here's one hook extra. Here is another one, and you have a small net to store some stuff. Very nice. And you have an underfloor storage, which is large enough here for the charging cable and the compressor kit. So everything in the car, although I would, for example, put the charging kit definitely to the front. That's where I had it in the Tesla as well. So that's the first impression. What I maybe need to show you, I do it on my side. My wife is a lot smaller than me, so she sits differently. So what is really cool for those of you who have not seen an XPeng yet, you have here the massage function, and then you have 6 different options. I usually go for this one. And then you have a real massage. Because in some cars, it's just that they use the lordoz support and just simply pump air up and down. But this here is real massage. This is real physical work happening there, mechanical. So very, very cool. I totally love it, and I use it all the time on trips. Otherwise, the car is very similar to the general lineup. What is important here? You have a passenger screen, and this passenger screen runs also when you're driving. So I cannot start any of this, not to risk any copyright strike, but it's also done in a way you can see that now when I move to the driver's seat, this one gets dark so that it doesn't disturb the driver. That's very luxurious, I would say. Really nice, really nice. Yeah, that is the first impression of the G9, the way it looks. I have another video where I test the car in terms of consumption. So please check that out. That will come soon. And then I also do some other stuff, which I do then in German for another audience. And I might even do one comparing my G6 to the G9. So overall, this car is now really the end of the line spec, which including all premium package, the premium package, the tow hook, etc. So this car will be pretty much exactly spot on at 2 million, I think. That's the highest you can go for this car. And therefore it competes with, in this league, you don't have many electric cars. But like, for example, if you have an ICE car, that would be the BMW 5 series. Now the new iX5 that comes out, that should be in this league. Although that one has a much bigger battery, but it costs also, even starting, it will cost probably something like 30 to 40,000 more from the get-go. So very nice car. And you can have it, of course, in different levels. It can be this, the performance, or you could go for the long range, which honestly I would consider in many cases being more than sufficient, because that has a longer range. It has one motor, one engine at the end of the car, so rear-wheel drive and not 2, which is plenty in terms of power. And it gets you even further, and it's a little bit less expensive. So Very nice car, and have a look at how the driving was. Take care, folks. Ciao.